All right, so anyone interested in the future of AI needs to have Africa on their radar.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about why today.
Looking forward to it.
We are diving deep into the AI for Africa blueprint. It was published back in 2021.
Right.
And it's this fascinating roadmap for how the entire continent of Africa can become a major player in the AI landscape.
I think a lot of people would be surprised by what this blueprint reveals. It's not just about catching up with the rest of the world, it's about forging a completely new path.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really intrigued me about this whole report.
Yeah.
It doesn't treat AI as something that's only for Silicon Valley or for, these big tech companies. It really emphasizes how AI can be a game changer for everyone, and especially in a place like Africa.
Yeah, and that's because AI is what we often call a general purpose technology. It's kind of like electricity or the internet in that it has the potential to transform every single industry.
The report even compares it to the invention of the steam engine,
Oh, wow.
which completely revolutionized manufacturing and transportation. So we're not just talking about, fancy gadgets or robots here. We're talking about AI's potential to revolutionize things like agriculture,
Uh-huh.
healthcare, even how we address climate change.
And, those are all areas where Africa has a lot to gain. For example, you can use AI-powered systems to analyze satellite imagery,
Right.
and that can help farmers monitor crop health, predict yields, optimize irrigation. Imagine the impact that this could have on food security in a continent that's facing, such diverse environmental challenges.
That's incredible. I was also really struck by how the report highlights Africa's really unique position in this whole AI race.
Yeah.
We usually think of the US and China as being the front runners, but this report suggests that Africa actually has some pretty serious advantages that could allow it to leapfrog ahead.
That's right. And I think one of the biggest advantages is just Africa's young, digitally savvy population.
Hmm.
I mean, this is a generation that's grown up with technologies.
Yeah.
And they're really ready to embrace the power of AI to solve problems in their own communities.
It's not just about adopting AI, it's about having a generation that's ready to create and innovate with it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing that happening. Several African nations like Mauritius, Rwanda, Kenya, they're developing national AI strategies that are tailored to their specific needs. They're not just copying what other countries are doing. They're really focusing on these homegrown solutions. AI for Africa by Africa, as the report puts it.
I love that idea. It's about owning their AI future and not just being passive consumers of technology developed elsewhere. But one thing that kept coming up in the report was the issue of data.
Yeah.
AI algorithms need massive amounts of data to learn and improve. Isn't the lack of robust data infrastructure in some parts of Africa a major obstacle?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But African nations are finding really creative ways to address it.
Like what?
Well, for example, they're using satellite imagery to track environmental changes.
Oh,
They're
interesting.
using mobile phone data to analyze economic trends.
So they're really leveraging the data they do have in new and innovative ways.
Exactly. And they're also working on initiatives to open up more government data, which could be a real goldmine for AI researchers and developers.
Yeah, it's like turning a potential weakness into a strength.
Yeah.
They're finding opportunities where others might only see limitations.
Hmm.
And this leads to another fascinating aspect of the report, the emphasis on building a thriving AI ecosystem.
Right.
It's not just about having brilliant programmers, it's about cultivating an environment where AI can flourish.
Exactly. Think of it like a garden.
Okay.
You need fertile soil, sunlight, water for plants to grow.
Yeah.
In the same way, a robust AI ecosystem needs a strong foundation of research institutions. Universities that are training the next generation of AI experts, businesses that are investing in AI applications and supportive government policies that really encourage innovation and responsible development.
So it's about creating that whole holistic environment, not just focusing on one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. And the report really stresses that Africa have a real opportunity to build this ecosystem in a way that prioritizes its own unique needs and values.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, this brings up another point that I found really interesting. The report dedicates a significant portion to discussing the potential of AI to address some of Africa's most pressing challenges.
Yeah.
One area that they focus on is healthcare.
Huh.
Can you give us a specific example of how AI is actually being used to improve healthcare outcomes in Africa?
Yeah, there's a company called Babylon that's operating in Rwanda,
Okay.
and they've developed this mobile app that uses AI to provide medical advice and organize appointments. Imagine the impact this can have in areas where access to doctors is really limited.
It's like having a virtual doctor in your pocket.
Right, and that's just one example. AI is also being used to analyze medical images, like X-rays.
Oh, wow.
to help with early disease diagnosis, which is so critical in regions with limited access to specialists.
It seems like AI is not just about technology, it's about creating a more equitable and accessible future for healthcare.
I think that's a great way to put it.
But let's be realistic. There must be some serious challenges to implementing these ambitious AI plans.
Of course.
Right. The report mentions a shortage of skilled AI professionals as a major obstacle.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Developing a skilled AI workforce is absolutely crucial for Africa's AI ambitions. And the report suggests that investing heavily in STEM education at all levels,
Okay.
from primary school to university, is essential to build this talent pipeline.
So it's a long-term strategy.
Exactly. And it requires collaboration.
Hmm.
Many African nations are partnering with international institutions to exchange knowledge and expertise, offering opportunities for students and professionals to gain valuable experience in the field of AI.
It's about building capacity from within while also learning from global best practices.
Precisely. And that brings us to another critical point, the importance of responsible AI development.
What exactly does responsible AI development look like in the African context?
Well, it's about ensuring that AI systems are developed and deployed in a way that benefits all members of society, not just a select few.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how that technology is used and who it benefits.
Right. And it's about anticipating potential risks and mitigating them.
Yeah.
For instance, AI systems can perpetuate existing biases if they're trained on biased data.
Right.
So it's crucial to ensure that the data used to train AI algorithms is diverse and representative of the population it's intended to serve.
It sounds like responsible AI development requires a lot of foresight and careful planning.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process, not a one-time fix.
Yeah.
But what's exciting is that many African nations are incorporating these considerations from the very beginning of their AI journey.
So they're trying to avoid some of the pitfalls that other regions have experienced by baking in ethical considerations right from the start.
Exactly.
That's really promising.
Yeah.
This deep dive is already revealing so much about the potential of AI in Africa. It's clear that it's not just about replicating what's happening in other parts of the world. It's about forging this new path.
Yep.
One that's tailored to the continent's unique challenges and opportunities.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this blueprint so compelling. It's not just a roadmap for technological advancement. It's a vision for a more equitable and prosperous future for Africa.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still so much more to explore. Stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into the AI for Africa blueprint. We'll delve into specific examples of AI innovations happening across the continent, examine the economic implications of this technological revolution, and discuss what the future holds for AI in Africa. We've seen how AI is making waves in agriculture, healthcare, and finance in Africa. But this blueprint isn't just about specific sectors, it's about building this whole AI ecosystem. And that brings us to some really big picture questions about infrastructure investment collaboration. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, the report emphasizes that a thriving AI ecosystem needs more than just brilliant minds and, cool technologies.
Yeah.
It needs the right infrastructure to really support it.
Okay, like what kind of infrastructure are we talking about?
Well, one key aspect is computing power.
Right.
AI algorithms, especially the ones that are behind machine learning, they're data-hungry beasts.
Yeah.
They need serious processing muscle to crunch all that information.
Uh-huh.
And so the blueprint suggests building a shared computing infrastructure, kind of like a continental-scale data center that researchers and companies across Africa could all access.
That's a pretty bold idea. Pooling resources like that could really give African AI development a major boost. But what about the money? Who's going to foot the bill for all of this?
Well, the report acknowledges that funding is crucial.
Right.
It calls for both public and private investment
Okay.
in AI research education and infrastructure,
Yeah.
and also suggests creating incentive to attract global investment while also really prioritizing African-led initiatives.
So kind of a mix of homegrown support and strategic partnerships with international players.
Exactly. And it's not just about, throwing money at the problem.
Right.
It's about creating a supportive policy environment that really encourages innovation and entrepreneurship.
It makes sense. If you want a vibrant AI ecosystem, you need the right rules of the game to foster growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, the blueprint actually dives into some very specific policy recommendations.
Like what?
Things like streamlining regulations for AI startups, promoting open data initiatives, establishing ethical guidelines for AI development.
Now, on that topic of collaboration, the report really stresses working together both within Africa and with international partners. How essential do you think this is for success?
Oh, collaboration is absolutely key. I
Yeah.
mean, no single country can do this alone.
Yeah.
Sharing knowledge, pooling resources, learning from each other's successes and failures,
Right.
that's going to be
So it's
crucial.
about building bridges, not walls in the AI world.
I like that analogy.
Thanks.
And the blueprint actually outlines several concrete ways to really foster collaboration.
Such as.
For example, it suggests creating regional centers of excellence for AI research, establishing exchange programs for students and researchers, and organizing Pan-African AI conferences and workshops.
Those are all fantastic ideas. There seems to be a real sense of shared purpose in this report, a recognition that everyone stands to benefit from a stronger AI ecosystem in Africa.
Yeah, it's about creating a win-win situation where Africa can leverage AI to address its own unique challenges while also contributing to global AI innovation.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the what and the how, the infrastructure, the investment, the collaboration that's needed to build this AI ecosystem. But let's step back for a moment and ask the so what question. Why should we care? What's really at stake here?
You know, the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah.
Right? AI has the potential to be a truly transformative force in Africa,
Uh-huh.
driving economic growth, improving lives, addressing some of the continent's most pressing challenges.
Give me some concrete examples of how this might play out.
Well, imagine AI-powered systems that can predict and prevent disease outbreaks,
Okay.
or optimize transportation networks to reduce traffic congestion,
Right.
or even personalize education to meet the needs of every student.
Those are really powerful examples. It's about using AI to create a more equitable, sustainable, prosperous future for Africa.
Exactly. And, you know, the AI for Africa blueprint really provides this compelling vision for how to make that future a reality. It's a call to action for governments, businesses, researchers, individuals to work together to harness the power of AI for good.
This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. It's clear that AI is not just a technological trend.
Right.
It's a force that's really going to shape the future of Africa in really profound ways. But it's also clear that, this future is not predetermined.
Right.
The choices that we make today are going to determine whether AI is used to empower people or exacerbate existing inequalities.
I agree. That's a really crucial point.
So it's not just about building the technology. It's about building a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive in the age of AI.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge that demands our attention and our action.
It really does. This brings us to another important point that was raised in the report, the issue of data privacy and security. As AI relies on these vast amounts of data, how can African nations ensure that this data is used responsibly and ethically?
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
And, many African nations are working to develop robust data protection frameworks that safeguard individual privacy,
Okay.
while also enabling, the responsible use of data for innovation and development. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's essential to get it right.
So it's not just about having access to data. It's about using that data in a way that respects individual rights
Yeah.
and fosters trust.
Exactly. And it's about ensuring that AI systems are transparent and accountable.
Right.
People need to understand how these systems work,
Right.
and they need to have confidence that they're being used fairly and ethically.
Well, it's clear that AI is already having this profound impact in Africa, and its influence is only going to grow in the years to come. It's exciting to see how this technology is being used to address challenges and create opportunities across the continent.
Absolutely. And I think the AI for Africa blueprint provides a really valuable roadmap for navigating this technological revolution in a way that benefits all Africans.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that AI is not just about technology, it's about people. And it's about using technology to build a better future for everyone.
Okay, so we've explored a lot in this deep dive. We've talked about the potential of AI in Africa, the challenges they face, and the vision they have for the future. But for this final part, I want to shift gears a little. What was it for you that really resonated? What made you stop and think, wow, this is something special?
For me, it was the sheer audacity of the blueprint's vision that really captivated me. It's not just about catching up, it's about reimagining what's possible.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What makes their vision so different?
Well, the AI for Africa blueprint isn't about blindly adopting models from other parts of the world. It's about leveraging AI to address the continent's unique needs and priorities. It's about creating solutions that are relevant and sustainable for the African context.
I see what you mean. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's about tailoring AI to fit the specific realities of the continent.
Precisely. And this approach is reflected in the blueprint's emphasis on collaboration.
Yeah.
It calls for this Pan-African effort with countries working together to share data resources expertise.
Mm.
It recognizes that the challenges facing Africa are interconnected and that solutions require this collective approach.
That emphasis on collaboration really stood out to me as well. It's not just about individual countries competing, it's about recognizing the power of shared knowledge and collective action.
Right. And this spirit of collaboration extends beyond the continent itself. The blueprint also acknowledges the importance of partnerships with international organizations, research institutions, private sector companies. It's about fostering a global ecosystem of support for AI development in Africa.
Yeah, it's not about isolating Africa from the rest of the world. It's about creating a mutually beneficial exchange of knowledge and resources.
Absolutely.